Hello. Am I on? Hopefully I am. Hopefully you can hear me. Hello, everybody out there in the virtual sphere. Welcome to my little neck of the internet woods, my little cul-de-sac that I like to call Brian Speaks On. I am your host, Brian, the creator and moderator of said channel. You can find me here on YouTube, or you can also find me on Facebook under the same heading, Brian Speaks On. Welcome to all who venture upon here, and to people who have been here before, welcome back. So good to see you all. Welcome. So, gonna try to get right into this. I have a bad habit of saying that and then not doing it. So I'm gonna do the best I can to get into the topic at hand and go into what I like to go into. First of all, brief explainer when it comes to my channel. I am not here to be an influencer. It's not my goal. My goal is to present something to you from a different angle of perspective and to give you something to think over and mull over. And, you do with my information what you will. Hopefully we could come to some kind of good discourse or agreement, more hopefully. But hopefully I introduce you to something from a different angle of perspective. I usually talk about hot button topics, but I try to offer it from a more obscure point of view, or, just try to tackle something from a perspective that isn't really the hot angle of something. What I am doing right now is I am the third video into a series of what I would like to call the positive manosphere, the positive black manosphere. We folks in the black culture of America, we love to recreate words that tend to have negative connotations. I think you guys know the main word we're talking about, but we're not talking about that word. We're talking about manosphere. And when you hear the word manosphere, you usually associate that with negative people in the internet sphere and just negative discourse in general. So what I want to do is I want to offer some positive manosphere conversation, and I do believe that there is room for a positive manosphere, because I think that a manosphere is actually necessary. Now, to those who may want to push back against that and speak about that as maybe a form of misogyny or mansplaining or something like that, I would offer a couple of rebuttals to that. First of all, and this is not to compare and contrast per se, but you don't hear people contesting women's studies. There are, when you go into a bookstore or a library, there's a section called women's studies, and it is very essential. It's an essential topic of genre for people to better understand women. So this is more or less kind of akin to that. It is not trying to say, well, you have women's studies, so why can't you have men's studies? It's not about that. It's not about comparing. And that would be my second rebuttal, which is, it's not about competition. It's about the fact that men need to talk about things, just like women need to talk about things. We need to talk about things among men the way that women talk about things among women. I think a lot of people would agree that men don't really have the circles of those kinds of intellectual self-observation cycle. Like you don't have a cipher of men that like to talk about introspective things about men, and more specifically Black American men. So I want to offer that. That's what I say all that to say. This is not about misogyny. This is not about wanting to be some form of incel or anything like that, because this is not anti-women. This is just men being able to talk honestly and vulnerably about things that are essential to manhood in America, to what we need to do to improve as men, but not talk about things in a controversial way and in a way that elicits fighting, where we're not here to antagonize. At least I'm not. This is not about that. This is not about antagonizing. This is not about belittling men. This is not about belittling black men, to try to gain sim points and stuff like that. This is about being able to have honest, vulnerable conversation. So with that being said, my third topic, this is the third in the series of Positive Black Manosphere, which will be talking about patriarchy. I know y'all love talking about patriarchy, right? And funny thing is like, men do love talking about patriarchy. And before I even get even deeper into this, I do want to say, like, no disrespect to the women, but this is not about y'all. This is about men conversing on a topic that we need to converse about. I love y'all listening. Please listen, because this is helpful for all of us. But I'm going to say things in a manner of speaking, kind of the way that I would be talking to one of my homies. Like if I was sitting here talking to one of my boys, this is how I would be speaking about said topic. It's not meant to be, like I said, it's not meant to be triggering to women, but I'm going to speak it in a masculine tense. So, patriarchy. Men love talking about patriarchy. We love talking about how we love to be the man. But what does that mean? What is patriarchy? In the way that you define it. I guess it's a little bit different depending on who you ask. Patriarchy for me is a title that is earned within a household. It doesn't necessarily represent you being the unilateral leader of a household. It just means that this is your role within the household as the man of the house. Now, there's the man of the house, there's the woman of the house. No one is higher than the other. In my, this is my viewpoint of it, though. So, I mean, y'all can give me y'all viewpoints. You can tell me how you feel about it. But that's my basic description. So, again, to put it short, it is a title that is gained, earned, not demanded, not inherited, not given forth unto without earning. But I think what we don't tend to do well enough is we don't tend to recognize our patriarchy, in the sense of we don't recognize our interpretation of what patriarchy is. We have this archaic understanding, or what was programmed into us as believing that this is representative of being a patriarch. Like a patriarch is someone you think about like your grandpa of the family, and you have that reverence. Like everybody from that branch has reverence for granddad, but how did he become that? What did he do to earn that spot? Back in the days, the men had to give great sacrifice for the family in order to earn that title. So are we doing that? Are we, I know we live in a modern era, things are different, but are we doing the modern version of that, of earning our spot? So I think one of the first things that's important about patriarchy is to recognize when you are thinking in a patriarchal manner versus a misogynistic manner, because there is very much a need and a space for a patriarch. That's not a negative thing. It can be a negative thing when you are not applying it in the correct, healthy fashion. You're not thinking about being a patriarch in a healthy way. You're thinking about being a patriarch as far as being everyone's overlord or overseer or something like that. That's toxic. And we need to unlearn some things. We need to deprogram ourselves in certain ways and get away from that. So with that being said, I want to get a little bit more subgenre with it and talk about Black Patriarchy as opposed to non-Black Patriarchy. See, in America, there's patriarchy on a general level, but then there are tiers to that. And Black Patriarchy, I'm going to be frank, is on a lower tier of American patriarchy. We do not hold the same, privilege that patriarchs of other cultures and backgrounds tend to have. Now, is that necessarily a bad thing? In some respects, no, because some of these other patriarchal stereotypes that cultural traditions that are being upheld are very misogynistic. It's very centered around the man being the sun and that everyone else revolves around. And that's, that's really not a modern concept. That's really not a modern thing in this modern world, especially in America. And then you come to learn that a lot of things from tradition come from patriarchy and come from misogyny, and a lot of that stuff needs to be ironed out. Some things need to just be flat out eliminated. But specific to Black Patriarchy, I think what happens is that black men have this mass psychosis of inferiority complex within America. We feel like we don't hold power. We don't have weight. Here in America, and because of that, we are very insecure in the way that we move out here. We have to be very careful. We have to do things in a very subtle fashion. We don't want to make too many waves, and because of that, I think over these generations, we have developed more and more of this beta energy that makes us feel like we have to exert our authority over someone in order to feel more like a man. And that creates a lot of problems. So we need to recognize that our patriarchy, unfortunately, is not relative to non-black culture of patriarchy. But in a way, that's not necessarily a bad thing, like I said, because a lot of patriarchy is based in misogyny, and we shouldn't be following certain archetypes anyway. I think this is actually a time where we can kind of recreate the concept of what a patriarch is if we did it the right way. Everybody has to do things individual to their household, and you customize it to how it works for you, but at the same time, recognize that, don't use your insecurity about not feeling empowered to oppress your loved ones in your home. If you're the king of your castle, be a benevolent king. Don't be an oppressor. Be a man of your people. And that would be my advice as it applies to that. Now, to expound a little bit on the insecurity aspect, you might want to ask yourself, is your patriarchy really a reflection of your insecurity of feeling like you don't have power and authority and respect? If you don't feel like you have power, authority, and respect, and because of that, you need to you need to make somebody feel you in that aspect, you're definitely practicing a very toxic version of what you see as patriarchy. It's really, it's insecure misogyny more than anything else. But just try to be cognitive, be aware of your moves and how you treat others, and what is it based in? Is it based in insecurity, or is it based in security? Do you feel like you need to be felt, or do people just simply feel you because of who you are? If people feel you for who you are, that's authentic. That's commanding, not demanding. Some people command respect. They don't have to bark loud about it. They don't have to demand it. They don't have to say, I demand you respect me. Well, if you got to demand it, then that means you don't deserve it, and you have to be honest with yourself like that. Sometimes you got to be bluntly honest with yourself. If you are not earning and commanding the respect that you feel you deserve, then you need to evaluate yourself. Do you feel like you have earned what you visualize as your patriarchal role? Because again, a lot of men have a slightly different version of what they see as being a patriarch. But I think what you need to focus on is, did you earn the ideal, vision in your mind of how you should be seen in terms of being the man of the house, or the man in general? Have you earned that? What makes you feel that you earned that? What makes you feel entitled to this role of ideal that you feel that you're supposed to have? Now again, some people feel like they deserve to have things without earning it. Like you feel it. That's entitlement. And there's really no place for entitlement out here. People got to work. You got to earn yours, And just because you were born a male and you were raised as a man, and now you grew up and you happen to have lived long enough to become a full-grown male, it doesn't mean that you are somehow inherited, this title of patriarch. Like you have to earn that. You have to earn the respect of your people, and that includes your family. That includes even your children. How many times have you seen children look at their parents or fathers, and specifically, and just shrug their shoulders, and it's FOH. So understand, that you need to earn what you visualize as being deserving of. Also, what position you want to think of this as it applies. Like if you're the patriarch, you see, that's how you see yourself. You see yourself as the patriarch. What position do the women in your life play in contrast to you feeling like you're the patriarch? Does your version of being the patriarch means like, I'm the man, I'm the leader, and y'all follow what I say? See, there's that top down thinking. And again, when you're dealing with modern, lifestyle, you come to understand that a partnership is a partnership. That's an equal thing. That means you and your partner uphold each other. It is not a thing where one person holds rank over the other person. You are interdependent. You are equal unto each other. And when you put kids into that mix, then you both are responsible in your own unique ways of supplying the elements that are necessary to your household. You are both valuable. You are both, you both have value. You both have intangible qualities that make you, I don't want to say irreplaceable, but you hold great value to your other half. That's why you're their other half. Two halves make a whole. If you can't be two halves of a whole feeling like you're 80% and the other is 20%. You have to be two halves of a whole. That's balance. That's equality. That's equanimity. So you want to maintain yourself as an equal to the women in your life, not as the overlord of your woman. You're not her owner. You don't possess them. You do not own people. We were owned. Our ancestors were owned, I should say. And I don't think you want to repeat that kind of negative, energy. So, the last thing I would want to broach is, again, is to reiterate something that I said earlier, is that there is such a thing as healthy patriarchy. Men hold a crucial role in relationships, in family building, in household, house rearing, home, the quality of life of a relationship, the quality of life of a family dynamic. We hold a critical role, but we have to look at this from the perspective of productivity. We're not looking at this from a productive aspect. We're looking at this as, you're supposed to look at me like this and you're supposed to treat me this way, and that's a very selfish-minded way of thinking. Real patriarchs sacrifice for their family. They are not thinking of themselves. They put their family first and they put themselves last. That's what a real patriarch is, at least in my interpretation, my humble opinion. I'm just a guy on the internet with a humble opinion, but that's me. I think my household runs pretty smoothly based on that philosophy and the execution of that philosophy, but maybe that's me. But again, there's such a thing as positive patriarchy. Don't let nobody tell you like, oh, you mentioned the word patriarch and you're just another one of those misogynist, toxic, male, chauvinist, what have yous. No, we hold a role. We hold a position. We just need to recognize that our position is not the way that it was brainwashed to a lot of us. Our position is not based in being superior. Our position is based in being equal in value to our other half. You are the alpha to her omega. It can't, again, I'm a Libra, so it's all about balance for me. I will talk about balance for God. Yeah. Don't get me started with that. But like I said, we need to just practice our patriarchy in a healthy, positive dynamic, because women want to be with a man that they can trust, that they can feel secure with, that they can feel like will put themselves on the line in every way for them. And it's not about being their savior. It's just about being their amplifier in life. You want to just amplify the quality of your significant other's life, but you're not supposed to be their savior, and you're not supposed to be their ruler. So just recognize your role and play it accordingly, and you will get more, if not all, of the results that you feel you deserve, and you won't have to demand it. It will just simply naturally exist based on you doing the right thing. So I'm going to end this one here. I wish everybody the best out here. Men, let's talk about this. Let's talk about this productively, positively, but honestly. If y'all with me, like, share, comment, all that. Hit me up. Check me out here. Check me out on Facebook under the same title, Brian Speaks On. And I'll see you out there in the Manosphere. All right, everybody? Y'all take it easy. Bless up. Peace.